Greetings everybody, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of a new series covering City Tales Medieval Era. If you would like to skip the game's overview or the details about this series, please use YouTube chapters. City Tales is a medieval city builder, allowing you to unleash your creativity and shape vast cities that break outside the traditional grid. Plan each district for your citizens' needs and aid your companions in their tales. Create a city to be proud of. Become the leader that your people need, providing them with the means to thrive. You're also joined by skilled companions that will stand by your side as their fates entwined with your city tales. So I'll be playing a new game. To my dear child, I am proud to see how much you've grown. It is with great joy that I appoint you, as I once did your brother and sister before you, to rule over a modest domain in the western part of our duchy. Though it pains me to see you go, I believe you will rise to the challenge and seize this opportunity to blossom. The land may be a little barren, but fear not. Sir Basil of Baskerose shall accompany you as your trusted advisor. Some loyal companions have volunteered to follow and serve you. Together you will transform this domain into a flourishing estate. Please, dear child, make your family proud. Show yourself worthy of the crown. I have great faith in your future. I shall watch your progress with pride as you continue to learn and grow. Duke Leon. So, this is the deed. I'll be myself, and I'll be the Liege of Yodaville, because of course. Now here is the starting companions that we'll have, and I was planning on raffling these off. So, Turtle Sandwich. Turtle Sand is all that fits. Is going to be a Baron's son and childhood friend. Joker is going to be a loyal shepherd. The Weathered Soldier, Kellyan. Isabel, the lady with her head in the clouds, will be Dawnbreak. The man of the people with a generous heart goes to, let's try that again, Crimson. And then last but not least, a poor country girl, Federsk. Wow, I spelled that wrong. Okay, so there's the starting companions that we have. I'll be playing on Settler difficulty, which is the default original challenge level. And, the tutorial's turned on. I'll be covering all the tutorial elements. I'm going to be starting in the middle of the Montalban Plains. The northern section has high layout constraints, making it harder to lay out your cities, and the southern, is a little bit more difficult. The middle is probably the easiest. And here's who we have. The Liege of Yodaville, accompanied by 6 trusted companions. And away we go. Thank you all for all the love in the chat. Joe True, Crimson, Skeletor, Bongal, and cheers to you. Welcome, my liege. I hope your travels were pleasant and safe. The land remains a little barren, but I'm confident it will soon host a magnificent city under your guidance. Your companions and I have built a modest village hall. I hope it shall meet your approval. People from far and wide are gathered to join your growing settlement. Might I suggest we prepare some proper housing to welcome them. But first, we need to build a woodcutter's cabin and begin gathering wood. Build your first shelter. So, when quests pop up, they pop up in this form, and you can click them to accept. Alright. So, the first task is to build a woodcutter hut. And you can see its sphere of influence of the trees it can cut down. And I'm going to plop it right here. The distance to your town hall is not of any consequence. It's worth noting. It does not matter how far your buildings are. resources don't follow traditional transport tiles, so proximity doesn't matter. Meaning, I could have put the lumber mill out here if I wanted to. It would have not have made much difference. Ah, perfect. Now, my liege, those trees won't fell themselves, but I'm sure one of your companions will rise to the challenge. Any one of them would be up to the task, but the decision rests with you, my liege. So, when you first build most structures that are not just like houses, you have to employ one of your companions in order to essentially work in that facility and get it up and running, which is a relatively unique mechanic for city builders. So when you click on the woodcutter's hut, you assign one of your companions, and they will head up and actually work in that facility until they're able to automate it. None of these people have gathering skills, but as your companions work in, there are different sort of skills to build. There's like gathering and crafting and so on and so forth. But let's say we send Turtle Sandwich to be the lumberjack. He will become a better gatherer. And then if we assign him to a different gathering facility, let's say a clay pit or an iron mine, those skills that he built up gathering for the woodcutter's hut will carry over. So, you know, crafter, you can essentially specialize your companions if you want.
Certainly.
You believe you're capable? Yippee! Thanks for trusting me. I promise I won't let you down. And enthusiastic as ever, I see. So then, we'll have Turtle Sandwich head on over and start working the woodcutter's hut. And then at the top here, we have wood production. So we have a +2 wood production gain, a net 2, and a net +2 of foliage, because the woodcutter's hut does both. Very well, now we can build these houses. Perhaps a district of 4 or 5 would be enough for starters. So middle mouse button to start a new district. Left click to place a border. And then you can also drag your districts away. So this is like a district size of 5, but you know, you could go larger if you want. In this tutorial, we're aiming for a 5. And then hit accept. And this forms non-square districts. And each of these sections are going to be houses or businesses. And there we go. That is our first shelter. And with this first shelter, we have finished the first quest. Well done, my liege. More settlers have arrived. It's a monumental step forward, and there will be many more. See, they've offered us some coins for the land. So, whenever people move in, they pay taxes, only upon arrival. And that adds to your funds, which expands what you're able to build. Let's remain humble and use their contributions wisely to strengthen our economy. Let's invest in a lumber mill and produce sturdy planks from the wood we've gathered. Quest completed, and we have unlocked a lumber mill. Produce some planks and foliage ropes. So, first things first, we want to build a lumber mill. We can either build a lumber mill in this original district. So this district has 5 potential shelters, but if we build a lumber mill, it's going to take up one of those 5 spots. This lumber mill is but the first step towards the city of your dreams, my liege. It will allow us to produce sturdy planks from the wood our wood gatherers gather. We need wood, foliage, and money for the construction. Right now, we have just about enough resources and coins to proceed. The lumber mill does not rely on nearby buildings or natural resources, so you may place it in any district of your choosing. To back up a little bit what that tutorial was explaining, sometimes, like mushrooms in the mushroom field or stone and iron in the mountains, you will need to place buildings within the sphere of influence of the resources that they're exploiting. In the case of a lumber mill, that is not the case. The lumber mill can go anywhere, and again, like I said, the transportation distance between the woodcutter and the lumber mill does not matter. It is not a factor that is not calculated. So I'm going to put a lumber mill in this starting district. Beautiful work, my liege. You gave the order to build a lumber mill in this district, but the villagers will choose the precise location within it. So I don't choose specifically where it goes. It's just in the district somewhere. Now our builders will see to it that vacant parcels are filled with homes. That should help attract more settlers. You've taken care of the basics. Now I shall set up my office in the village hall and start working on finding new ways to assist you. Should you need anything, you'll find me there. So we've unlocked a well, a weaving workshop, a gatherer's cabin, a hunter's cabin, and a fisher's cabin. Now the tutorial that I have wants me to produce planks and foliage ropes. And foliage ropes are not produced by the lumber mill. Foliage ropes, you can see, clicking on it up here, will give you the production chain. And it is a weaving workshop. Now, instead of putting two businesses within this one region, I'm going to build another district for the weaver's workshop. So, middle mouse button. And we don't want to overlap the original districts, because it won't allow us to place it. But there we go. This is a district of 6. And then I'm going to put a weaver's workshop within this district right there. And that will satisfy the off to work, planks, and foliage ropes. Because, of course, this lumber mill gathers the foliage needed to go into the foliage ropes. You can think of it as like tree fibers. Now that the lumber mill is done, and let me raise the volume just a little bit. I always struggle trying to get the volume right. We have to employ someone to work at this lumber mill. And this is a construction skill. And it doesn't really matter who has it. So I'm going to assign it to Petersk.
Yes?
Oi, my liege. What can I do for you? Got plenty of time on my hands. Just say the word and I'll get to work. It's always a pleasure to be useful. So here's Petersk racing over to the lumber mill. Actually, no. This is Petersk. They are actual villagers that you can actually find and follow, which is pretty neat. Alright, and here is the weaving workshop. This is a craftsmanship skill. Let's give it to Crimson.
Okay.
Oh, hello, my liege. You need me for what? Work? Ha ha. I always knew you had a sense of humor. Oh, you're serious? Yes, work. Of course, I can work. A little hesitant, but, you know, if he gets the job done. Additionally, we unlocked a gatherer's cabin, which gathers berries. A fisher's cabin, which gathers fish. A hunter's cabin, which hunts deer. And we should build those as well as a well. So if we click on these shelters here, this shelter, for instance, will upgrade when it's provided wood, foliage ropes, berries, venison, and it's within range of a market and a well. All buildings will have a certain amount required to upgrade, kind of like Anno or a game like that. And in this case, we need to provide those things in order for the population to expand, the buildings to get bigger, and then as they increase in size, you gain more gold and you gain more population. So there's a pressure to be providing more benefits to your citizens so that you raise the population, raise taxes, and unlock new buildings and the like. Man, the amount of green in the grass here is like messing with my my green screen. I'm disappearing. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and get a fisher's cabin going. So, in this case, the fisher's cabin needs to be built directly upon the water. And it has a sphere of influence where it will not allow other fisher cabin to be built adjacent. So plop it there. And I'm also going to want a gatherer's cabin once we have a little bit more rope, and a hunter's cabin, again, with a little bit more rope. Now, unlike the fisher's cabin, which just needs to be on the water, the gatherer's cabin needs to be somewhere near berries. So there's a area of berries, 80 berries over here, and we can build the gatherer's cabin here. Or there's an area of 60 berries up here, we can build the gatherer's cabin up here. In this case, I'm going to build it up here. So there's the gatherer's cabin, and then we'll work on building the hunter's cabin, and all of these cabins will provide food, and the food will allow for our citizens' population to grow and to become more prosperous. Steph, Grey Hermit, thank you for the resubs. Cheers. Oh, so this is our first companion quest. So that little tambourine sounding noise was the indicator. And in the bottom left here, we have Pedersk. Save you, my liege. 'Tis a fine day today. Say, I wanted to thank you for taking me in. You know, life ain't easy around here, so it's mighty nice of you to give us a chance. Say, I be wondering, would you bring some of me folks with me? See, I know I look tough and all, but I do miss them. They're my family, you know. I want to give them a better life too. They've been working night and day for years and years, and they deserve a break. So can you help them? Build shelters. So this is a companion quest. It is not part of the main quest line. There is a reward if you do it. It isn't necessarily required, but I'm going to be doing all of them, and it is to build 12 shelters. So let's go ahead and build another housing district. And I'm going to embrace the non-square aesthetic. Bump it up to a size... No, actually, I'm going to keep it a size 5. There we go. And I have just completed the off to work. Your leadership is inspiring, my liege. But let's not rest on our laurels yet. There's still a lot to be done. You may develop your city as you see fit, but be mindful of the needs of your citizens. Upgrade several shelters by satisfying residents' needs. So we want to not only build 12 shelters, but to upgrade 5 of them. And this is exactly why I started doing the resource collecting, because I knew that we would have to do that. So the fisher over here is not currently working, but hey, Joker.
It will be done.
Save you, my liege. I'll get to work right away. I still have a lot to learn, but I'll do my best not to slow you down or the other companions. Thank you for trusting me. So Joker is now fishing for us. And then the gatherer's cabin is currently being built. And then I'm also going to get a hunter's cabin, and I'm going to put that one up here. There's 2, for lack of a better term, deposits of deer up here, so there's lots to hunt. And that should be a lot of the raw resources needed to upgrading districts. Now, the other thing that we're going to need here is a market and a well. Not all houses have the same requirements. So, like, this one only needs a well. This one needs a well and a chapel. So, depending on the requirements, it behooves you to provide them when possible. And we'll get into that in just a moment, once more of the infrastructure is set up. So the berry gathering cabin is all set up. And Dawnbreak, I'm going to assign this one to you. Your head's already in the clouds. You might as well be lying in the bushes staring at the clouds.
It will be done.
Me working? Yes, yes, of course. All right. And we have one free companion left over to be assigned, which will be our Hunter Kellyan. Now, in terms of which companions for which tasks, it doesn't matter initially, because they all have the same starting skill. None of them are specialized. As you progress and as you assign them specific tasks to work, they will become better at those types of tasks. So the soldier could become a berry picker or a fisher or a hunter. It really doesn't matter. All that really matters is that you try to keep them within the same types of work so that they build up their skill. So, one moment of your time, my liege. As you can see, there, you still may order construction in the district, even if there's no empty parcels left. To make space, you'll need to take down one of the district's more modest houses. Naturally, this may upset its residents. If this happens, I advise returning coins that they had originally paid for the plot. That should help avoid any escalation. They settle in the hall while we prepare a new home for them. So, basically, there's eminent domain. If I wanted to build a well, I could build a well right here, and what it would do is it would, if there is no empty spots left, it would replace one of the houses. And in this case, it replaced more than just one house because it's a service building, so it replaces a bunch. Okay, here's the hunter. So Kellyanne is assigned there. So you can see Turtle Sandwich, for instance, if we check in with him.
Certainly.
He is leveling up his gathering skill. He's almost halfway to level 2. And at level 2, he becomes more proficient at cutting down trees. Oops, I did not mean to
Certainly.
unassign him. Once the well is constructed, we can go about... Oh, my liege, now that we have a well, I must bring attention to a most pressing matter. While the water well is a simple structure, it is crucial to the settlement's development. We must cater to our residents' needs to improve their living conditions, and access to well is essential. Some buildings may even depend on a water source nearby. Please take a look at this. I've sketched a map to help you manage each district. So if we click on the district here, the white circle around the district represents its influence range. Any district within the circle will benefit from that influence. So basically, this district has a well, and any house or structure within this well's sphere of influence will benefit from that well. So the well provides not just a benefit from its house or home district, but all the surrounding districts around there. Here you can see the total number of parcels within the district, along with how many are still available for construction. Here you can see the influences affecting the district. Of course, its benefit from the well provided by its own well. So this district has the well and it has a well. Later on, certain buildings may expand the range of their district's influence. You can see exactly how far right here. And then lastly, the number of residents. This is a lot to take in at once, but I'm confident you'll master it in no time, my liege. I trust this knowledge will help you overcome the challenges that lie ahead. I shall leave it to you. There's still a lot to be done. And I've just unlocked a chapel and a trading plaza, which are the other buildings that housing areas need access to grow. So if I built a trading plaza here and a chapel here, all the houses that I currently have constructed would benefit from proximity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up another district over here because I'm still only halfway to Child of the Land to satisfy my companion's requirements. Actually, before I do that, I would like to get all three of those city services, for lack of a better term, constructed. And there's a bit of a reason for that, and I'll show you why in a minute. And then this house here is actually ready to be upgraded because all it wants is access in range of the well. So, my liege, I'm sorry, I have made a mistake. I gave away a plot of land to settlers without consulting you first. They came to me claiming everything was in order, and I believed them. They've already started building, and, well, we must do something. We can't just let people build houses wherever they like. There's a process for these things, I'll have you know. Still, it's a good time as any to go over how to reshape or remove districts. There's this delete tool that I'm partially covering. You can reshape any district by destroying one of its parcels. Doing so returns all the resources that were invested in that parcel. But remember, a district can't be smaller than 3 parcels. Otherwise, you'll have to destroy the entire district in one fell swoop. Also, my liege, please bear in mind, if you remove a house, you'll need to refund its land to its former residents. Now, select the district and let's nature reclaim it. Well done, my liege. Never an easy decision, but sometimes it must be done. Meanwhile, I apologized profusely to our lovely settlers. They agreed to wait in our town hall for the next available plot of land. To be honest, I had to offer them the last wheel of cheese from our supplies, but at least they seemed content. On our Thursday night fondue, however, we'll have to wait. Bastards. Stole my fondue. So now I have access to being able to delete. So if you delete an entire district, you refund all the investment in that district, but it also means that any residents that had paid to live there, you will have to pay out of pocket, out of your coin. And then if you delete an individual house in the district, it doesn't empty the lot, it removes that lot from the district as a whole. So if I deleted this house, it would reshape the district, in other words, just like it did in the tutorial. Hey, my liege, I've fixed up the woodcutter's cabin. It should run a whole lot better now. Fixed it up, you say? It couldn't have been that bad if you managed to work in it, but let's see what this is all about. Small improvements? We're way past that. Good heavens, Kellyan. You took the time to train an apprentice? Well, I thought it would save us time. He's a very motivated young lad, I must say. I barely had to teach him anything. He seems very smart indeed. My liege, this building now is autonomous. You can order Kellyan to keep upgrading it, or, should you also wish, assign them to a different job. Even though Kellyan is too modest to admit it, I'm certain they've learned a lot from their experience. Kellyan could further hone their skills in the field and become a specialist, or you may assign them to another task. The call is yours. You're the one in charge, my liege. And thank you. Now is not the time for gratitude. Save it when we're done building this town. So, in this case, what ended up happening was Kellyan upgraded the facility to level 2, which enables automation. Basically, the companion trained an apprentice, and now it can run on its own, albeit less efficiently than having Kellyan work there. And that's how all of these buildings work. So all of the buildings that I have my companions in will eventually be autonomous, just like the lumber mill. The lumber mill became, or the woodcutter. The woodcutter became autonomous first because it was the first one we built. All right. The last thing I wanted to build here is a chapel, and I'm going to be building a chapel in this district. Once I have the wood. The hunting cabin has turtle sandwich. They like flopped. So sorry, that was confusing. All right, chapel time. A civil building takes 2 parcels, and there we go. So now we have a chapel, a well, and a market. And the reason for this is that's generally what Tier 1 buildings require to upgrade. So now I have supplied anything that a Tier 1 house would want. And the reason I wanted to build that first is so that I could see the sphere of influence of these structures when laying out future districts. So I'll explain that in just a moment. So now that we have these the 3 sort of pinnacles for districts, if I open up the overlay, which is in the top left, and enable faith, water, and trade, I can see the rings of faith, water, and trade overlapping, which means when I build new districts, if I want to take advantage of access to water, faith, and trade, I can design these in such a way that they contain those benefits. So in building this new district here, I can have it go as far west as possible before it loses access to water, and I'll show you that here in a second. So if I build it out this far, it's not covered by the well, but if I bring it in a little bit, like there, it's now covered by the well. And that's why I wanted the well, the chapel, and the market built ahead of time, so that I could sort of like maximize the district's proximity. So if I build a district here, you can actually see, I'll hide the other ones, you can actually see the well kind of blob outwards. And it's because the majority of this district is within the well's radius, so the entire district then benefits. So it's a really nice way to get more houses supported by your essential services without having to build more of those essential services. Now, the game is a casual game. You don't have to necessarily min-max it like this. I just wanted to demonstrate that there's a sizable benefit for laying out your districts in such a way that they actually benefit from the services you're already providing, because every additional service that you build costs gold. So it's also a gold saving measure, a pretty significant one. Okay, so we are still working on Children of the Land and In Pursuit of Happiness, and I ought to be able to get all that done with the districts I currently have built. I just need to wait for the lumber mill to mill up more wood. So Pedersk's lumber mill getting upgraded is going to be pretty important. Truth be told, there are certain facilities like lumber or clay tiles, which you need a lot of for general building. So it makes sense to build possibly multiple lumber mills. I'm not going to do it right now, but in the future, that might be in the cards. And cheers, by the way. So also because you can drag, when you build a district, you can drag the corners. Oops. It's really nice to be able to lay out your districts in this way so that you can sort of fudge the borders and get exactly what you want within the proximity that you're aiming for. It's a really nice feature. Oh, look at that! I did both of these things at the same time. So we'll do Children of the Land, offered by Pedersk first. Blimey, my liege! I see ye ain't fooling around now. That was mighty quick. I can tell how thankful, I can't tell you how thankful I am. I'll be seeing my family again. You're a good soul. Thanks a bunch, to tell you the truth. We were scared stiff when we heard the liege from the capital was coming down, settling down here. I'm glad to see that you're not, yet an arrogant tyrant who came, I think. And you'll see, be kind to the land and it'll be kind to you in turn. That's what Mama always told me. And she gave us 20 gold for it. And then the other one is In the Pursuit of Happiness. My liege, a few villagers have expressed their gratitude for the new homes we built. They're eager to see what comes next. Speaking of which, I'm already hard at work. Not quite done yet, but I'm confident the result will be worth the wait. I just need to secure the materials we need. You wouldn't happen to know a merchant, a stonemason, or a company of 7 jolly miners who could spare us some stone, would you? My liege, you won't believe it. One of our villagers turned out to be a member of the band of 7 jolly miners. He shared with me the directions to a site he and his brothers prospected some time ago. According to him, we're bound to find all the stone we need, ripe for the mining, as he puts it. What a peculiar fellow. That's just what we need to keep improving our city. Just imagine sturdy stone houses for all of our villagers. So we unlocked a rustic tavern, which takes milk and wheat to turn it into porridge, a stone quarry, a wheat farm, a flax farm, a cattle farm, and a performance stage. And my next task is better, higher, sturdier. Upgrade a couple of cottages. And also, the world is stone. Gather some stone. So first things first, let's gather some stone. So the stone quarry here needs to be within the sphere of influence of a stone node. So as you can see, the nodes in red are nodes not related to the stone quarry, and the nodes in white are the stone. So I'm going to build the stone quarry here. Done. Now, if we take a look at any one of these buildings, this cottage, for instance, to become upgraded, needs a tier 2 market, needs a tier 1 performance stage, needs planks of wood, stone, and also multiple food items and construction items that I don't have access to yet. So I already know that I'm not close to this goal, not really at all. Once the stone quarry is built, more of this may be illuminated to me, though. There's also decoration items, so I'll build some now just so you can see them. So if I zoom all the way in, and I can, like, plop a sign here. So let's put, like, a little sign right out front of my village hall. And in this way, you can also sort of, like, decorate your cities. Oh, that's weird. The uptime command isn't working. Let me fix that. Okay, the stone quarry is now built. I'm going to, on purpose, ignore the stone quarry for a minute. And the reason is, if you have a facility, like the stone quarry, or really any facility, if it doesn't have workers, or if it doesn't have raw resources to process. So, for instance, if it was a lumber mill and it had no more wood, you'd be given a warning about it. If you ignore it long enough. Now, in this case, you can obviously see the, like, portrait of, like, hey, there's no one working here. But the game does have heads-up display pop-ups going, hey, no one's working. Which is a good reminder. Quest is completed, so we got the market square, the tavern, the stringing workshop, and the pharmacy. And I'll just assign someone in here. So, who do we assign? That's a very good question. I'm going to assign Joker. Right. So these little symbols here are the automation symbols. So every single companion where they're working is now automated. I think I need fish less than most of the other resources. So I'm assigning Joker from fishing to mining stone. Because we can do without the boosted fish income. So the next quest is to gather 15 stone from this mine. And then with the stone mine built, we can see some of the requirements. So the cottage needs linen rope and fish with berries. Fish with berries is something that you build in a tavern. And then the stringing workshop takes flax and tree fiber rope to combine it into linen rope, which means for the stringing workshop, I'm going to need a flax farm, but I have everything I need for the tavern. I just need the stone ahead of time. Laura, thank you for the resub. So let's go ahead and get a flax farm going. Would you care to try your hand at agriculture, my liege? You'll find the building cost here. Just keep in mind the farm's total yield will depend on the number of fields. Of course, each additional field comes at a cost, so it will be up to you to strike the right balance when planning your farms. One parcel will be left empty, free of charge, to make room for future production building. Time to sow, my liege. So if we open up the flax farm here, the pink areas are infertile soil, and then the green areas are fertile soil. And then you can also see the white areas, which are resource nodes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a flax farm right at the edge of my kingdom along the road here. And I want to aim for a farm of size 4. So in this case, I need to wait for me to gather a little bit more stone to be able to afford this, because I only have 4 of the 8 stone I need. Also, we have a quest, and I'll check in on that in just a moment. There we go. There's our flax farm. And it does knock down the trees automatically. So it's advisable not to knock down a whole bunch of forests that you don't need to. Because timber is, of course, a very useful resource. In this case, it wasn't a lot of trees that displaced. But you do want to avoid displacing trees when possible. Thank you for tuning in to City Tales Medieval Era, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, everybody.